Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth, welcoming this morning, representing Black Girl Magic and Black Excellence. Yes, from the Miss Black America Scholarship Gala, we want to welcome the lovely Miss Black America co-ed, Roneshia Ray.
Hi, good morning, good morning, good
How
morning.
are you? Pull that mic up so we can
Good morning,
make
good
sure we
morning,
hear.
good morning. How's everyone?
We are doing great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Sitting here, my Black Girl Magic, just
Just
basking in all of
basking
it,
in
just basking in the glory.
Yes, as you should.
Basking in the glory.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know that you are, as you said, basking in all of your
Black Girl Magic
and your royalty with your crown and your sash.
Yes.
So now you are the current reigning Miss Black
America.
Miss Black.
I'm the reigning Miss Black America co-ed. I am Roneshia Ray. A little bit about myself. I am a current graduate PhD student at Johns Hopkins.
Ooh.
Working on my doctoral program for educational leadership. I work at a high school where I'm a college counselor and 504 compliance officer. So just really passing on my Black Girl Magic to make sure that I don't let it go stale.
Yeah.
And that it's able to reach other people.
Well, and what's so important and the most dope thing about you is that you are walking in what you want to see in other young ladies and just our people, period. So that's already a big plus. What is your platform? What's your social platform?
So my platform for my pageant was I Dream, and it stands for Determination, Rarefied, Endurance, Adversity, and Mentorship. And basically the concept that no matter where you're from, no matter what your parents did, no matter what your parents have not done, it's my belief that everyone's dream is still valid. And as a pageant queen, as my platform, I wanted to help young women and young men reach those dreams.
Absolutely.
So whether it be in scholarship galas, hosting charm schools, hosting grooming classes for African American males, I want to make sure that they reach their maximum potential.
Absolutely. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Roneshia Ray, who is the current reigning Miss Black America co-ed. So what got you into pageantry?
Oh, interesting story. So during my senior year of high school, my mom suffered a heart attack, and it really put us at a financial disadvantage where we were homeless, sleeping from pillow to post, and I needed a way to pay for school. And so the only way that I could think of was to pay for school was that my teacher told me, well, Miss Ray, you're pretty, you have an okay talent, why don't we do a pageant? And the only thing I kept thinking was this lady is out of her mind to think that I'm going to get on stage and do anything for a talent or a pageant.
And what was the okay talent?
I danced. So I danced. And the reason why she said okay was because I've always held back a little bit in fear of being in the spotlight. I never wanted to be in the spotlight. I wanted to just kind of go unnoticed.
Because I got to be honest, like when you said that in your teacher's like, yeah, you got an okay
like,
talent. In my mind,
okay.
You know what? When you said that, my mom was like, okay.
She's like, it's okay. You know, you don't really. I think what she meant is I didn't put as much as I could have into my craft, and I always wanted to hide in the shadows of someone else. I never wanted to be in the forefront. I never wanted to get all the attention on me. So I competed for the first pageant. I didn't win, but I got first runner-up, and that covered basically the first semester of tuition.
Wow.
So from here on out, I won't have many student loans as I'm finishing up my doctoral program. The great thing about scholarship pageants is that from cash prizes, they can be anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000, which basically help you pay for school.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so with that, even though you did it for monetary reasons, you just ended up liking it eventually.
Eventually, it forced me out of my shell. Honestly, the pageantry brought out some of the deepest, darkest secrets. I had never told anyone about my mom having a heart attack and us suffering financially until I started competing in pageants and going to these different schools where I saw these young ladies who looked like me, who had circumstances like me, and just really wanted someone to touch and agree with them on the fact that, yes, I want to be a doctor, yes, I want to be a lawyer, but my mom has never finished high school. Is that possible? And they're looking at me to say, well, is it possible, and how do you know? And so, of course, the how do you know is I've been there before.
Wow. Amazing story. Listen to Access Houston talking to Roneshia Ray, who is the current Miss Black America co-ed. And we have the Hierarchy Scholarship Gala that is going to be happening on May 12th. What day is that? May 12th is
It's a Friday.
So Friday, the Miss Black America co-ed Roneshia Ray, you're going to be hosting.
I am. I'm just going to be hosting. This is my baby event. I decided for my birthday that working as a college counselor, I see kids get into school, but oftentimes they choose schools that are beneath them because they can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
And although I'm not giving out $1 million of scholarships because I'm not Bill Gates, I felt that if I wanted them to be successful, provide them with the resources that they needed. And so the scholarship gala is no other way. So for my birthday, I decided I'm going to give away $10,000 worth of scholarships to kids that need it and that want to be something and want to do something with their lives. So we're always asking, well, what's happening with our youth? This is what's happening. They need our support.
Absolutely, man. This is big, and you're going to have some big names, people that I'm very, very familiar with. My man Jaron Smalls. You're going to also have another beauty contestant, Day Edwards.
Day.
Will be there. And Brandy Jackson, who is one of the musicians' wives, will be there as well. And talk about Dr. Richmond and
Dr.
Margot.
Richmond. Dr. Richmond is one of those women that you meet and you're like, oh my gosh, she's stunning in person. She's statuesque, she's tall, she's gorgeous. And when she goes to speak, she's so kind to others. She's so kind and loving with everything that she does, hosting events for community leaders, hosting events in the medical field to make sure that with African-American people, we don't think health is so important, but she actually puts it in the forefront and makes it in your face, and she takes it as a mission. Margot is, I guess, my better half. She helps with etiquette programs with the Chicks with Class, and she's brought out Sky Jackson to see little girls to hear them talk about dreams coming true and just really pushing herself to have this whole Black girl magic upon us.
That is so amazing, Roneshia. I mean, I'm literally sitting over here like my heart is tingling that you are using your platform for such an amazing purpose.
Thank
with you being a college counselor, I mean, being a counselor at a high school.
At a high school with all these kids. Hi, shout out to Kip Sunnyside High School children.
You know,
Hello.
oh my goodness, I can't even imagine what that is like on the fun side.
On the fun side, it's funny. Like every day I'm coming home with some type of story to tell someone about what the kids have said today or what they've done today or what they cried about today. Like it's a real society when you have, just to be frank, when you have Donald Trump in office, the kids really do have to think, what is my future going to look like in the next 4 years?
Now that's interesting. Somebody who is witnessing what the kids are going through mentally, emotionally, with dealing with anxiety from having 45 as the president.
Yeah, when you have 45, is literally the day after elections were over, we had to have a whole group conversation where our students were in tears, especially our students that receive any type of public assistance were afraid of what's going to happen to me because this is how my grandmother, this is how my mom survives, and we're not slums, we're trying to do better, but we receive public assistance. So what does that look like for me? Will I still be able to go to college? And here we are in the brink of CNN celebrating canceling Obamacare, which helps so many people.
It helps so many people, and but you know what, Roneshia? When the people who benefit from it most, who actually voted for this man, once they realize that they're messed up too, and that your family members are going to die too, then they'll wake up. They will wake up. They will wake up. But I do want to say this, since we're on this topic. It's so wrong. It's so wrong that they repealed Obamacare in the House. I mean, now think about it, because they rolled back the expansion of Medicaid. Now think about it. For just the example that you just said, we live in low-income housing. We're not slums. We're trying to do better, but we need this assistance because Big Mama need her medicine. She's on Medicaid. Now that they done roll back Medicaid, you know what I'm saying? It's quite possible that Big Mama may not get her medicine when she needs it because now it's on a budget instead of it, being free-flowing as it is. So it's going to affect people all across. They cut the funding for Planned Parenthood.
Right.
If you have a pre-existing condition, you won't be denied from your insurer now, but they will charge you higher premiums because you have a pre-existing condition versus somebody that is healthy. So, all of you Republicans that are in the House right now,
you suck. I'll say it for you.
Yeah, you suck, and say goodbye, because this is it. Like, you're going to get voted out. Come 18, you're going to be out of a job because you voted for this bill. Because people are watching.
Right.
People are watching right now. But back to that. Because it all comes around. It all comes back around. The Hierarchy Scholarship Gala, though, celebrating modern day queens and kings. I love that.
Thank you.
Subtitle there. You are so stunning.
Thank you
Your
so much.
counselor or the young lady, the teacher who suggested that you try out for these pageants, she was absolutely
she is
right.
She hates when I call her name, so I'm not going to do it. But she was actually from my 6th grade teacher all the way up until my 12th grade teacher. So she followed me through my high school career. When I got ready to graduate from Texas Southern University, she was sitting right there in the stands when I got ready to cross the stage as a college graduate.
Absolutely.
So just the importance of really sewing into what you believe.
No doubt. What is your hope for the future with the kids that you counsel, with what you see every day? How confident are you about the future when it comes to our youth?
When I talk to my kids, I tell them all the time that I work with the class of 2017. They are a special group of kids to me because the number 17 means complete victory. And them coming in where we have the 45th coming in, they can't settle for mediocrity. And they have to go to and follow their purpose at whatever it means. And I really want them to take back the saying, by any means necessary. And so by any means necessary, I'm going to not be mediocre. I'm going to not be a stereotype. I'm going to not settle for just being okay and average. I'm going to really push myself to be everything that I've been called to be.
Excellence.
So for excellence, for hierarchy. So although the hierarchy may not have been given to you, create it. And when you create it, you determine who sits at your table then.
Come on.
And so once they determine who sits at their table, it's really nothing that can stop them. So for my seniors, especially at Kip Sunnyside High School, they hold so much potential. And I think so oftentimes we downplay potential because it isn't what we want it to look like. It may not look like doctor, lawyer. It may look like communication major. It may look like artist. It may look like dancer. Or it may look like engineer. But whatever it is, I want them to hold steadfast to it and chase after it.
Oh, man. I love that message. Love that. Love that you see that we're okay.
Yeah, we're fine.
For the future when it comes to these kids. And I oh my gosh, I always tell, the older folks, people kind of my age and a little older, like, no, y'all talk down on the millennials, y'all talk down on the generation, under the millennials, and you got it wrong. Like, they got it together when it comes to up here in the brains. Like, they're all right.
They're okay.
They get it and will challenge you if they think that what you're telling them doesn't make sense or doesn't add up.
They just think differently. And I think that so many times and I even have to call myself out on this, as a teacher, if they don't do 1 + 1 and they get 2, I'm immediately like, you didn't do it right. When really they just have their own way of doing things, and sometimes it's not the most conventional way that we've been taught.
As long as it gets done.
As long as it gets done.
I don't care your method.
Right, your method.
Just get it done.
I need you to get it done, and you're in your morals, and you're not stepping outside of your character.
Yeah.
Miss Ray doesn't care how you get it done. I'm just more so looking at the fact and proud that, number one, you're attempting with these obstacles against you, and then 2, that you got it done.
Yeah. Oh, man. You deserve all of what God has for you because
thank you.
You are a special spirit. So please save the date and participate and do what you can for Miss Black America Co-Ed Roneshia Ray, who will be hosting the first Hierarchy Gala in effort to raise scholarship funds for students. It is Friday, May 12th at 5200 Bissonnette in Bel Air from 7 to 11.
Yes.
All right, and so the Hierarchy Scholarship Gala, they're going to provide scholarships to 4 inner city high school students. So save the date. And Roneshia, thank you for coming through. It's such an honor to meet you and to have you. No, really, I mean that.
Thank you.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Joining us via phone, Dr. Warner W. Carr of the Allergy and Asthma Associates of Southern California. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. How are you doing?
I am doing well. I have no complaints, sir. So, I understand that, we all know that asthma affects more than 3.6 million children under the age of 18 here in the U.S., not to mention that 50% of adults remain symptomatic. to asthma. But I understand that there has now been an expanded FDA approval that provides asthma relief for children with uncontrolled symptoms. So I want to start the conversation with asking, why did the FDA decide to expand the age range for this asthma treatment?
The FDA recently expanded the age indication for this new medication for asthma, Spiriva Respimat, for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, we did clinical trials down to age 6 in children that had uncontrolled asthma. And what we found in these clinical studies is that using Spiriva Respimat in that age group, it was very safe. And more importantly, it was very effective at getting these patients under control.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So how could this medicine help provide relief for children ages 6?
There are a lot of children, you just mentioned, there are a lot of children in the United States suffering from asthma. They don't have adequate control. They're having coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath. They're having problems playing soccer or participating in sports. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, the kids that had asthma, they just sat out of gym class and couldn't even participate.
Yeah.
Now we have medicines like Spiriva. And with that, we can get these kids under better control so they can have a better quality of life and get out there on the soccer field.
Absolutely. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Dr. Warner W. Carr. The FDA has expanded asthma relief for children with uncontrolled symptoms. Dr. Carr, if we could just go back to the beginning, what is asthma and what causes asthma? And I ask that because growing up, there was a situation with my mother, and she was picking up my youngest brother from nursery school, and it was raining that day, and she had caught a flat and changed the tire in the rain. And then she ended up later, getting kind of sick and had bronchitis, and that bronchitis then turned into asthma. And so she's been asthmatic for probably about 20 years now. And so that bronchitis morphed into that. So what exactly causes one to have asthma?
KG, let me tell you, my friend, asthma is a syndrome, if you will. And there are multiple different types of asthma. Basically, if you think of it this way, it's a chronic inflammatory lung disease.
Okay.
So it's really important in everybody, but especially our children, to understand this is not an episodic condition. This is a chronic inflammatory lung disease. And left uncontrolled, you can get progressive loss of lung function, and it can really have an impact on your life. Realize up to 10 people die every day from asthma. So today, 10 people will die. Tomorrow, 10 people will die. There is an unmet burden of disease out there. And this new medicine helps to address that. Not 100%, but it's a good addition to our tool chest. Now, to your other question, what causes it? That is a great question, because there are multiple different types of asthma and multiple different causes. Basically, the vast majority of people that have asthma have some degree of allergy. And because of that, and infection, and there are other triggers like cold air, perhaps with your mother. Because of that, you get changes in your airflow and air capacity. That's coughing and wheezing. And then you get inflammation in the lungs. And it's that inflammation that can cause chronic damage. So that's kind of the natural history of asthma, if you will.
Yeah. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Dr. Carr about asthma and how the FDA has approved asthma relief for children with uncontrolled symptoms. To that point, can you tell us more about what is meant by uncontrolled symptoms?
Yes. The symptoms of asthma are quite commonly coughing, wheezing, shortness of breath. Those are the common ones that we think about. And these can be very debilitating symptoms. With this changes in airflow, you can actually get air trapped in your lungs. I'd ask you, KG, if you will, just for a moment, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath and hold it. Hold it in. Don't let it out. Now try to breathe up there, up at the top. See how hard that is? Now imagine running after a taxi cab, playing soccer. That's uncontrolled asthma. That's what they feel like every day.
Oh, wow. Wow, wow. So why is it important to control asthma symptoms?
Well, asthma can have an impact on patients' quality of life. As I said before, it can also have an impact on their quantity of life. Children are missing school. When they're at school, they can't participate in school. Adults are missing work. They're not sleeping well at night. They can't exercise. Some of them end up in the hospital, and like I said before, up to 10 people die every day from asthma in the United States. There is an unmet burden of disease. We need to get this under control.
Yes, we do. Dr. Carr, is there any sort of kind of natural ways that one could possibly combat asthma, or at least if they are slightly asthmatic, is there ways to try to control that without any sort of medication? Like if they haven't reached that point as to where they need, to get an inhaler or an asthma treatment.
Look, KG, if your patients out there are having coughing, wheezing, or shortness of breath, have them see a doctor and find out why they're having shortness of breath. I don't want people self-diagnosing with asthma, but let's say that they have been diagnosed with asthma and it's mild. Perhaps it's intermittent. Mm-hmm. There are absolutely things that you can do at home and around your house. First off, as I said before, 95% of patients have allergies. So avoid those things that you're allergic to. Get that cat out of your bed, out of your bedroom. Clean up the dusty shelves, vacuum the carpets. Things like that can help remove some of the things that you're allergic to. And of course, losing weight and exercise are critical in patients that have asthma, and making sure that they have a good diet. Sometimes patients can be low in vitamin D. Yeah. So patients can take supplements in vitamin D. All of those things are things that patients can do at home without having to take medicines, and they are really important additions to medical therapy. All my patients I talk about that with.
Wow, that's some good stuff. Thank you so much for all of that information. You're listening to Access Houston. We're talking to Dr. Warner W. Carr about the expanded FDA approval that provides asthma relief for children with uncontrolled symptoms. Dr. Carr, where can the listeners learn more about this expanded FDA approval?
KG, I would like to invite your listeners to learn more about Spiriva Respimat. Just go to www.spiriva.com and look for Spiriva for asthma, and they can learn a lot of information that we've discussed today.
Absolutely. That's www.spiriva.com. Dr. Carr, thank you so much for your time and this information. Here in Houston, approximately 500,000 children in Texas have been diagnosed with asthma. So you sharing this information on the uncontrolled asthma symptoms and this new approval from the FDA, I'm sure it is going to help many of persons and many families. So thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. It's been my pleasure, and have a wonderful day.
Will do. And thank you for listening to Access Houston.